Under the Californian sun, where the waves whisper secrets only the shoreline keeps, a moment was captured, quiet yet thunderous in meaning. Meghan Sussex, the Duchess of Sussex, was not on a red carpet. There were no royal protocols, no official sashes, no palatial backdrops. And yet, there she stood, beneath a tent on a sun-drenched beach with her son, her husband, and her power. Unshaken, elegant, and glowing with the kind of authenticity that doesn't demand attention, but earns it. A Saturday morning came with a glimpse into something many forgot. Royals can be real. Meghan, dressed in a crisp, oversized white shirt, a sweeping Mariella Vilar straw hat shielding her face, and a pair of humble but meaningful Brother Vellies huarache sandals, didn't just show up for a surf lesson. She arrived as a woman who has redefined what presence means. There's no crown on her head, but every grain of sand around her bent in reverence. Alongside her, Prince Harry stood with the ease of a father who has finally stepped into the role he was always meant to play. Not as a working royal bound by duty, but as a man led by love. His body language spoke volumes. Watching Archie receive a surf lesson wasn't just a family day out. It was a living declaration of the Sussexes' dream realised: freedom, family and future. Archie, wrapped in the innocence of childhood and beach towels, was the centre of this intimate portrait. The fact that the couple allowed this public yet unscripted moment to unfold, naturally, sweetly, without fanfare, says more about their journey than any press statement ever could. Lilibet Diana may not have been in the frame, but her absence didn't dilute the moment. It heightened its gravity. It reminded the world that parenting isn't about posing, it's about presence. And in this frame, Meghan and Harry were fully there. The truth is, Meghan didn't need to say a word. Her style did the speaking. Every piece of her outfit held intention. The Mariella Vilar hat, hand-woven, large-brimmed and assertively understated, signalled a woman rooted in herself. No logos, no glitter, just timeless craftsmanship, the kind that echoes her values: sustainability, cultural respect, and a deep love for artisan stories. Paired with her huaraches, shoes born from indigenous Mexican heritage, she told the world something with her soles. Beauty is not new, it's just been ignored too long. Meghan wore tradition and heritage without altering them. She didn't rebrand the huarache as luxury, she respected it as legacy. And that's what made this image viral. That's what made it powerful. A royal on a beach, in an outfit that didn't scream royalty, but whispered something far louder. I see you. I honour you. I'm with you. There's no palace wall behind them, but somehow the moment felt more regal than most official portraits. This wasn't about curated perfection. This was about something raw, parenting with purpose, loving without performance, dressing with meaning. And together, they looked like what the modern monarchy never could manufacture: sincere joy. If you were watching closely, you could see how Harry looked at Meghan. There's reverence there, not performative, not staged. Just a man who knows that the woman beside him is the real force of change. A woman who walked away from a system that tried to dim her light and instead built a family where her glow would raise the next generation. This image will live beyond the headlines and blog posts. It will mark a shift, not because of designer brands or surprise appearances, but because it was a snapshot of healing, a healing family, a healing world, a healing narrative. This wasn't just Meghan Sussex and Prince Harry on the beach with Prince Archie. This was the American dream touching royal history, and for once, the sand didn't divide. It grounded them, together. For those who still wonder whether Prince Harry made the right choice when he stepped back from royal life, let this quiet Saturday scene be the answer. Not shouted from palace balconies, not draped in velvet or punctuated with tradition, just a simple image beneath beach canopies. A young father crouched beside his son, a mother watching attentively, shielding him with her body and spirit. No royal guard in sight, but the kind of protection that only love can offer. That's the freedom they traded a kingdom for. Harry wasn't behind velvet ropes anymore. He was beside his son, leaning into the softest parts of fatherhood, the sandy toes, the giggles in the sun, the first time balancing on a surfboard. His tall figure, once known for striding in military uniform or formal suits, now stood at ease in shorts and sneakers, calm and grounded. He wasn't leading a parade. He was leading with presence. No press conference could compete with this kind of public image, real, raw, and rooted in joy. And beside him, Meghan, always aware, always intentional, orchestrated a moment not just of bonding, but of transformation. Her fashion, while unassuming to the casual eye, was a masterclass in cultural acknowledgement and grace. Her oversized white poplin shirt was breezy yet bold, a callback to the California casual that defined her pre-royal life, yet elevated with purpose. No logos, no extravagance, but every inch of it spoke of a woman who understands that what you wear can speak before you do. When Meghan chose the huarache sandals by Brother Vellies, she wasn't just opting for comfort. She was making space for legacy. These were not high-fashion heels or designer mules made for paparazzi lenses. These were hand-woven, traditionally crafted shoes that had walked long before Meghan wore them. And that's the point. She didn't alter them. She didn't Hollywood them. She respected their history and by doing so carried their story to the shoreline. Not everyone notices these things. Meghan does. And she weaves meaning into her wardrobe in ways that demand respect without demanding attention. Then there's the Mariella Vilar straw hat, wide-brimmed, elegantly shaped, worn not as a statement of glamour, but as a quiet shield of intention. Its silhouette framed her like a painting, mother, advocate, woman of the world. It wasn't just about sun protection, it was about protection of peace, of space, of her son's joy. And somehow, that simple accessory made a louder statement than any royal sash ever could. While Lilibet Diana wasn't pictured, her absence told its own story. This wasn't exclusion, it was realism. Not every moment needs to include every member of the family. Sometimes moments are built for one-on-one connection, and that day on the beach belonged to Archie, the little boy who has lived through headlines, judgment, speculation. Yet here he was, wrapped in innocence, exploring the ocean with his parents. That's the real triumph. That's the real royal legacy, protecting childhood. This family has been tested, publicly, brutally. From media attacks to institutional rejection, Meghan and Harry have withstood a storm that would have unravelled most. And yet, they emerged. Not just intact, but stronger, softer, freer. You see it in how they parent. You feel it in how they show up. You understand it in how they refuse to perform for a world that once demanded their silence. They're not rebelling, they're rebuilding. And every small moment, a surf lesson, a beach stroll, a hand-woven sandal, is another brick in the house of their new legacy. They didn't need Buckingham's balcony to make a statement. They had a stretch of sand, a borrowed tent, and the kind of love that doesn't ask permission. Meghan wasn't flanked by palisades, but by family. She wasn't wearing jewels, but meaning. And that distinction, subtle yet seismic, is what makes her influence enduring. So when the world looks back at this image, let it not be seen as a mere celebrity sighting. Let it be seen as a cultural document, a record of what happens when tradition meets truth, when legacy meets liberation, when royalty decides that titles don't matter nearly as much as time spent with your child under a beach umbrella. There's a revolution in that tent, quiet, loving, and entirely unstoppable. The image will fade from headlines soon enough. Another photo, another celebrity, another weekend moment captured and consumed. But this one, this beachside breath of freedom, this sun-drenched glimpse of the Sussexes simply being, will linger far longer than most realise. Because in that moment, Meghan didn't just wear a hat. She wore the weight of every woman who has ever been told she didn't belong and made the world her own anyway. Harry didn't just hold his son's attention. He held the proof that love can outlast tradition, that fatherhood can be more powerful than any monarchy when it's rooted in presence. And Archie, wrapped in saltwater wonder, was not just playing. He was absorbing the values of a new lineage, one not built on bloodline alone, but on bravery, empathy, and unfiltered joy. Some may say they turned their backs on duty, but what Meghan and Harry chose instead wasn't abandonment, it was evolution. They've turned royal expectation inside out and sown something better, a life stitched together by intention, respect, culture, and choice. The sun wasn't just shining that day, it was honouring them. For every cruel tabloid headline Meghan has endured, there was the quiet power of a sandal that told centuries of story with every step in the sand. For every sneer about Harry's rebellion, there was the stillness in his hands as he steadied his son's path toward the waves. not controlling him, not protecting him from life, but guiding him with gentle, watchful love. This is what royalty looks like now. Not behind castle walls, but beneath sun tents. Not adorned with diamonds, but enriched with purpose. Not posing for formality, but living with full, unrushed, meaningful freedom. And as for Lilibet Diana, her absence didn't make the picture incomplete. It made it honest. Family life isn't always picture-perfect symmetry. It's layered, rotational, fluid. Just like Meghan's approach to motherhood. Just like Harry's commitment to fatherhood. Lily's story is unfolding in the background, safe and sacred, just as it should be. Perhaps that's what makes this moment on the beach unforgettable. It wasn't curated, it was caught. Not for applause, but in spite of it. Meghan didn't dress to be noticed. She dressed to feel at home in herself. Harry wasn't holding a title that day. He was holding on to time. Archie wasn't being introduced to the press. He was being introduced to the Pacific Ocean. No tiaras, no processions, just presence. What they're building isn't exile. It's empire. One of values, courage, and clarity. A new dynasty, not of institution, but of influence. Quiet, slow, deliberate influence. The kind that doesn't break news cycles, but does shift generational expectations. So yes, this was just a day at the beach. But to those watching closely, it was a declaration. A declaration that healing isn't loud, it's gentle. That love, when protected, becomes legacy. That heritage isn't found in castles. It's honoured in huaraches, sun hats, and tiny sandy footprints chasing waves with the people who finally feel free to walk beside you, not behind you. And in this frame, on this day, Meghan Sussex wasn't the Duchess of Sussex. She was simply Meghan, wife, mother, woman. And in being so, she was more than a duchess. She was history, in motion. To all my curious Sussex family, thank you all for watching, and do not forget to like, subscribe, and put a comment. Bye-bye, see you on our next episode.